You ever have that moment?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to sound impressive, maybe in a meeting.
Yeah.
And you use this like really sophisticated word, and it just lands with a thud, feels totally wrong.
Or the opposite, right? You're just chatting, relaxed, and suddenly you sound like a textbook.
Exactly. Like a robot. So you start thinking, am I using the right words here?
Or am I maybe undermining what I'm trying to say? It's a really common thing to get tripped up on.
Well, that's exactly what we're getting into in this deep dive. It's all about vocabulary, sure, but more about context.
Right. Understanding when and where to use the words you know.
Specifically, that big difference between, informal chat and more formal academic language.
And we're using the IELTS exam as a kind of case study here because it highlights the split so clearly.
Yeah, it really does. So our mission today, using this great vocabulary guide we found, is basically to help you figure this out.
To get you feeling confident choosing the right word for the right place.
So you sound natural when you're speaking.
And academic and precise when you need to write formally.
Because the main problem, and our source material points this out clearly, is mixing them up.
Using chatty words in formal essays or stuffy academic words when you're just talking.
Yeah, and it's not about words being inherently good or bad.
No, not at all. It's about appropriate versus inappropriate for that specific situation. Get it wrong and it sounds unnatural.
And in tests like IELTS, it can actually pull your score down. It's more than just sounding odd. It's about understanding how language works differently in different settings.
Conversation versus argument, essentially.
Okay, so let's dig into the speaking side first. What does natural actually mean in, say, the IELTS speaking test?
Well, the whole point of that test is to simulate a real face-to-face conversation. It should be, relaxed, fluent, natural.
And here's the interesting bit. Informal words aren't just okay.
They're often better. They make you sound more authentic, more like a real person talking.
Right. So let's look at some examples from the guide. These are things really just for speaking, like contractions and colloquialisms.
Exactly. Things like kind of for kind of. You might say, I'm kind of tired today. Totally normal.
Or gonna for going to. I'm going to call her.
Wanna for want to. I really want to travel. These just make speech flow smoothly.
They really do.
Yeah.
And what about fillers? Things like,
Yeah, or like, they're not mistakes, they're conversational markers. I was cold, or I was like really shocked.
Even starting with well when you're thinking.
Well, I guess it depends. Perfectly natural hesitation. These aren't bad habits in speech. They show you're processing, engaging.
Okay, what about giving opinions or clarifying things informally?
Our source mentions actually. You might use it like, actually, I prefer coffee. To clarify our state of preference, honestly.
Or to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't study much. Signals you're giving a frank opinion.
And I mean...
For clarification. I mean, it's not that difficult. Or basically, to quickly summarize.
Basically, it was a bad idea.
Got it. These little phrases do a lot of work in conversation.
And then there are the casual ways we describe quantity or things, like a bit.
Instead of a little, I was a bit late. Sounds more natural than I was a little late. In many contexts.
Or stuff like that.
Right. Instead of listing every single thing, I enjoy football, movies, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like saying etc., but much more casually.
Pretty good instead of quite good.
Mm-hmm. My English is pretty good, and kind of for somewhat.
I kind of agree with that.
And that really common one, not really.
Yeah. The soft no. Do you like reading? Not really.
It's polite, indirect, very common in spoken English.
So the big takeaway for speaking is...
Use these informal conversational words. They help you sound natural, fluent, like you're actually having a conversation, not reciting lines.
Sounding like yourself, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, big shift now. Let's talk writing, specifically formal writing, like IELTS Task 2.
Right, completely different ballgame. Here, it's all about a formal academic tone.
And using those chatty words we just talked about.
Big mistake. They'll definitely lower your score in a formal writing context. They just don't fit.
So what kind of words should we be using? The guide mentions academic connectors.
Yes, these are crucial for structure. Instead of just and or so, you use words like moreover.
Meaning in addition.
Yep. Moreover, education levels are rising. Or thus for therefore.
Thus, the results are conclusive. Sounds very official.
It does. Or consequently, for as a result.
Consequently, fewer people commute. And furthermore.
Also means in addition. Furthermore, healthcare has improved. It adds weight, signals a serious point.
More weight than just and, you mean?
Definitely. It shows a deliberate linking of ideas. And for contrast,
Instead of but.
you'd use in contrast. In contrast, urban areas are declining, or whereas.
Men prefer A, whereas women prefer B. Very clear comparison.
And to wrap things up formally.
In conclusion.
In conclusion, both views are valid. These words create that logical academic flow.
Makes sense for building a solid argument. What about describing things formally? Can't say a lot of, right?
No, definitely not. You'd use significant number of people support it.
Or instead of just clearly.
It is evident that crime is increasing. Sounds much more objective.
And rather than many or a variety.
A wide range of solutions were proposed.
And most becomes.
The majority of citizens support the law. Again, it adds formality and precision.
Oh, okay. And there's specific formal phrases too, like in order to.
Right. Instead of just to. In order to solve the issue, we must act. It's more emphatic.
And is associated with instead of just linked to.
Yes. Obesity is associated with poor diet. It sounds more researched, more academic.
And giving your opinion formally.
From my perspective.
Right.
Instead of I think or in my view. From my perspective, it is essential.
So the key here is that these formal words give your writing what? Precision, authority.
Precision, clarity, authority, gravitas, all of those. They're essential for academic work or any formal context where you need to be taken seriously and structure your points logically.
Okay, let's really put them side by side now. Speaking versus writing. The contrast is pretty stark when you look at the examples our source gives.
It really is. Like you'd never use gonna or wanna in a formal essay.
No way. And you wouldn't use moreover or thus when you're just chatting with a friend, would you?
Probably not, unless you were being deliberately funny or overly formal for effect.
Huh. Yeah. And think about to be honest or using like as a filler. Fine in speech.
But totally out of place in writing. Instead, you'd use things like in contrast or furthermore to structure your points.
And stuff like that. The ultimate casual phrase.
Becomes a wide range of informal writing. Very different feel.
Actually, or pretty good for speaking.
Versus it is evident that, or significant for writing.
For hesitating in speech.
Becomes in conclusion, or from my perspective, to signal structure in writing.
It really drives home that it's not just about knowing fancy words.
Not at all. It's about understanding the style, the register, the context, making deliberate choices based on where you are and who you're communicating with.
So wrapping this up, what's the core insight for you, the listener?
I think it's this. Getting good at vocabulary isn't just about learning more words. That's part of it, sure.
But the real skill is choosing the right style for the right context.
Exactly. Speak naturally, informally when that's appropriate. Write clearly, formally, academically when that's what's needed.
And this isn't just about passing an exam like IELTS, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. Think about your daily life. Presenting something at work.
Formal.
Definitely. Writing an important email to a boss or a client.
Formal again. But maybe slightly less formal than an academic essay?
Right. There are shades of gray. But then explaining the same thing to a friend over coffee.
Totally different. Much more informal. Lots of those conversational markers we talked about.
Understanding this helps you navigate all these situations more effectively. It's about adapting your language.
Being aware of the signals your word choices send.
Yeah, it makes you a more conscious communicator.
Okay, so here's a final thought to leave you with.
Yeah.
Think about this. If you start consciously applying this understanding of linguistic context,
choosing your words deliberately based on the situation.
How might that change things? Not just making you communicate better,
but also helping you understand others better, reading between the lines, maybe.
Yeah, noticing the subtle intentions or nuances in how other people use language, whether they're speaking or writing.
How does their choice of formal or informal words shape your perception of them and their message? Something to think about.